సురేష్ స్టార్ట్ చేయండి. సురేష్ మొదలు పెట్టండి.
ఓకే. గుడ్ ఈవినింగ్ ఆల్ ఆఫ్ యూ ఫ్రెండ్స్. నా పేరు సురేష్. నేను బ్రేక్ త్రూ సైన్స్ సొసైటీ ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్లో మెంబర్గా ఉండడం జరుగుతుంది. ఈరోజు కార్యక్రమానికి హాజరైనటువంటి ఫ్రెండ్స్, లెక్చరర్స్, స్టూడెంట్స్, యూత్ అందరికి కూడా ఈరోజు జరుగుతున్నటువంటి కార్యక్రమంలో భాగంగా అందరికీ ఆహ్వానం తెలియజేస్తున్నాం. ముఖ్యంగా ఈరోజు కార్యక్రమం దేని యొక్క అంశం అంటే, మనందరికి కూడా తెలుసు నవంబర్ 14న వరల్డ్ వైడ్ డయాబెటిక్ డే జరగడం జరిగింది. ఆ సందర్భంగా ఈ యొక్క లెక్చరర్ని బ్రేక్ త్రూ సైన్స్ సొసైటీ ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్, తెలంగాణ ఆధ్వర్యంలో నిర్వహించడం జరుగుతుంది. ఈ యొక్క ఆన్లైన్ వెబినార్ అనేది వై వి ఇండియన్స్ ఆర్ సో స్వీట్ డయాబెటిక్ అనే యొక్క అంశం పైన ఈ యొక్క వెబినార్ జరగడం జరుగుతుంది. సో ఈ కార్యక్రమం అంటే ముఖ్యంగా మన దేశంలో చాలా మెట్రోపాలిటిక్ సిటీస్లో ఎక్కువ కూడా డయాబెటిక్ ఎదుర్కొన్నటువంటి పరిస్థితులు ఉన్నాయి. ఇప్పుడు మన పరిశీలిస్తున్నట్లయితే సిటీస్లో కూడా ఈ యొక్క ప్రభావం అనేది ఉంది, పెరుగుతూ ఉంది కూడా. అంటే రోజు రోజుకి డయాబెటిక్ అనేది పెరుగుతూ ఉంది. సో దీనికి సంబంధించి అంటే వీటిని ఎలా డయాబెటిక్ ని మనం తగ్గించుకోగలుగుతాము, సో వీటి మీద మాట్లాడడానికి డాక్టర్ పరిమల్ మిశ్రా సార్ కూడా ఈ కార్యక్రమానికి చీఫ్ స్పీకర్ గా ఇక్కడ అటెండ్ అవుతారు. సో ఈ యొక్క వెబినార్ ని కొనసాగించాల్సిందిగా బ్రేక్ త్రూ సైన్స్ సొసైటీ ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్, తెలంగాణ ఇన్ఛార్జ్ గంగాధరన్ సార్ గారిని మాట్లాడవలసిందిగా కోరుతున్నాను.
అందరికీ నమస్కారము. బ్రేక్ త్రూ సైన్స్ సొసైటీ ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్ మరియు తెలంగాణ రాష్ట్ర కమిటీల ఆధ్వర్యంలో మనం ఈరోజు డయాబెటీస్ అంశం పైన ఆన్లైన్ వెబినార్ కార్యక్రమాన్ని నిర్వహించుకుంటున్నాము. ఈ కార్యక్రమానికి ముఖ్య వక్తగా విచ్చేసిన డాక్టర్ పరిమల్ మిశ్రా గారికి ఆహ్వానం పలుకుతున్నాను. అదేవిధంగా ఈ కార్యక్రమాన్ని ఆన్లైన్ ద్వారా వీక్షిస్తున్నటువంటి ప్రేక్షకులందరికీ కూడా స్వాగతం పలుకుతున్నాను. బ్రేక్ త్రూ సైన్స్ సొసైటీ దేశవ్యాప్తంగా కూడా అన్ని రాష్ట్రాల్లోనూ విద్యార్థుల్లోనూ, యువతీ యువకుల్లోనూ, అదేవిధంగా సామాన్య ప్రజానీకంలోనూ సైన్స్ని వ్యాపింపచేస్తూ సైంటిఫిక్ నాలెడ్జిని స్ప్రెడ్ చేస్తూ పనిచేస్తుంది. దీనికి సంబంధించి అనేక రకాలైన కార్యక్రమాలని నిర్వహిస్తోంది. స్కూళ్ళల్లో, కాలేజీల్లో, యూనివర్సిటీల్లో విద్యార్థుల్లో శాస్త్రీయ దృక్పథాన్ని పెంపొందింపజేయడానికి కార్యక్రమాలను నిర్వహిస్తూ వారిలో సైన్స్కి సంబంధించినటువంటి విషయాల పట్ల సరైన అవగాహనని తీసుకొని రావడానికి బ్రేక్ త్రూ సైన్స్ సొసైటీ పనిచేస్తుంది. ఈరోజు సమాజము ఇంత అభివృద్ధి జరిగింది అనంటే గతంలో ఎంతోమంది గొప్ప శాస్త్రవేత్తలు, వారు ఆల్బర్ట్ ఐన్స్టీన్ కావచ్చు, సర్ సివి రామన్ కావచ్చు, మేఘనాథ్ సాహా కావచ్చు, ఆచార్య ప్రఫుల్ల చంద్ర రే కావచ్చు, ఇలాంటి వందలాది మంది శాస్త్రవేత్తలు అనేక రంగాలలో అలుపెరగకుండా కృషి చేయడం ద్వారా ఈరోజు సమాజం అన్ని రంగాలలో కూడా అభివృద్ధి చెందడం అనేది జరిగింది. ఈరోజు మానవాళి అంతా కూడా అనేక సౌకర్యాలను పొందుతోందంటే ఎంతోమంది శాస్త్రవేత్తలు కృషి చేయడం ద్వారా మాత్రమే ఈరోజు అనేక సౌకర్యాలు, సేవలను మనం పొందుతున్నాము. కాబట్టి ఆ శాస్త్రవేత్తల యొక్క జీవిత చరిత్రల్ని ఈరోజు విద్యార్థులందరికీ కూడా అవసరమని భావించి బ్రేక్ త్రూ సైన్స్ సొసైటీ శాస్త్రవేత్తల యొక్క బర్త్ యానివర్సరీస్, డెత్ యానివర్సరీస్ని నిర్వహిస్తూ విద్యార్థుల్లోనికి వారి జీవిత విశేషాలను, అదేవిధంగా వారు కనుక్కున్నటువంటి ఆవిష్కరణలను తీసుకొని పోతూ కార్యక్రమాలు చేయడం అనేది జరుగుతోంది. పాఠశాల స్థాయిలో సైన్స్ సర్కిల్స్‌ని ఏర్పాటు చేసి, ఆ సైన్స్ సెంటర్స్ ద్వారా దైనందిన శాస్త్రీయ విశ్లేషణను ఇవ్వడానికి చిన్న చిన్న ప్రయోగాల ద్వారా విద్యార్థుల్లోనికి సైన్స్ సెంటర్స్ ద్వారా బ్రేక్ త్రూ సైన్స్ సొసైటీ ముందుకు పోతోంది. అంతేకాకుండా ఈ కరోనా సమయంలో కరోనాకు సంబంధించినటువంటి శాస్త్రీయ అవగాహననిస్తూ దాదాపుగా వందలాది ఆన్‌లైన్ వెబినార్స్‌ని, సెమినార్స్‌ని నిర్వహించడం అనేది జరిగింది. మిత్రులారా, మనందరికీ కూడా తెలుసు, సైన్స్ ఇంత అభివృద్ధి చెందినప్పటికీ కూడా ఇప్పటికీ ప్రజలు అనేక రకాలైనటువంటి మూఢనమ్మకాలు, పాత వెనుకబడినటువంటి భావాలు, అంధవిశ్వాసాలను ఫాలో అవుతున్నారు. తద్వారా ఏంటంటే అనేక మంది ఈరోజు ప్రజలు వాటికి బలైపోవడం అనేది జరుగుతోంది. ఇప్పటికీ కూడా రోగమొస్తే హాస్పిటల్‌కి వెళ్ళాలి, మందులు వేసుకోవాలి అనే కనీస పరిజ్ఞానము లేనటువంటి ప్రజల్ని మనం చూస్తూనే ఉన్నాము. అనేక రకాలైనటువంటి మూఢనమ్మకాలను వారు విశ్వసిస్తూ ఉండడం అనేది మనం కళ్ళారా చూస్తూ ఉన్నాము. గతంలో పరిశీలన చేసినట్లయితే గుప్త నిధులు దొరుకుతాయని నరబలులు ఇవ్వడము, బంగారం దొరుకుతుందని చెప్పేసి క్షుద్ర పూజలు చేయడము, పశువులను బలివ్వడము, ఇలాంటి ఎన్నో విషయాలను మనము పత్రికల ద్వారా చదివి ఉన్నాము. దీన్ని బట్టి మనకు ఏమర్థమవుతుంది అనంటే, భారతదేశంలో సైన్స్ అభివృద్ధి అయినప్పటికీ కూడా శాస్త్రీయ అవగాహన అనేది అభివృద్ధి కాలేదు అని అర్థమవుతోంది. కాబట్టి బ్రేక్ త్రూ సైన్స్ సొసైటీ ఆ బృహత్ కార్యాన్ని భుజస్కంధాలపైన వేసుకొని అనేక రకాలైన సైన్స్ కార్యక్రమాలని చేస్తూ ముందుకు పోతోంది. బ్రేక్ త్రూ సైన్స్ సొసైటీ తన కార్యక్రమాలలో కొన్ని డిమాండ్స్‌ను కూడా ముందుకు తీసుకెళ్తోంది. అందులో ప్రధానంగా మన భారత రాజ్యాంగంలో పొందుపరచబడినటువంటి ఆర్టికల్ నంబర్ 51AHను ఇంప్లిమెంట్ చేయాలి అని చెప్పేసి మనం కోరుతున్నాం. తద్వారా శాస్త్రీయ అవగాహనతో కూడుకున్నటువంటి పాలసీలని తీసుకొని రావాలని ఆర్టికల్ చెబుతోంది. అంతేకాకుండా శాస్త్ర సంబంధ అంశాలకు సంబంధించి బడ్జెట్‌లో నిధులు కేటాయించాలని, కనీసము 3% జీడీపీలో నిధులు కేటాయించాలని, 10% సాధారణ విద్యకు కేంద్ర ప్రభుత్వము నిధులు కేటాయించాలని బ్రేక్ త్రూ సైన్స్ సొసైటీ చెబుతోంది. అంతేకాకుండా ఈరోజు మూఢనమ్మకాల వ్యతిరేక చట్టాన్ని తీసుకొని రావాలని, ఆ చట్టం ద్వారా మూఢనమ్మకాలను పారదోలడానికి ప్రయత్నం చేయాలని బ్రేక్ త్రూ సైన్స్ సొసైటీ చెప్తూ కార్యక్రమాలని ముందుకు తీసుకొని పోతోంది. అంతేకాకుండా ప్రతి 3 నెలలకు ఒక్కసారి బ్రేక్ త్రూ అనే ఒక మ్యాగజైన్ ద్వారా ప్రజల్లోనికి శాస్త్రీయ అంశాలను తీసుకొని పోవడానికి ప్రయత్నం చేస్తోంది. అంతేకాకుండా శాస్త్రీయ అవగాహనను పెంపొందింప చేయడానికి విద్యాసాగరు యొక్క జీవిత చరిత్రను తీసుకొని పోతూ ఇటీవల ఒక పుస్తకాన్ని కూడా ప్రచురణ చేయడం అనేది జరిగింది. విద్యాసాగర్ అండ్ సైంటిఫిక్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ అనే పుస్తకాన్ని ప్రచురించడం అనేది జరిగింది. కాబట్టి ఈ యొక్క ఆశయాన్ని సాధించడం కోసము బ్రేక్ త్రూ అనేక రకాలైన కార్యక్రమాల్ని చేయడంలో భాగంగా ఈరోజు ఈ యొక్క చక్కెర వ్యాధి మనందరికీ కూడా సుపరిచితమే. ఈ యొక్క చక్కెర వ్యాధి అనేది దాదాపుగా 100 మందిని తీసుకుంటే 20-25 మందికి 45 సంవత్సరాల తర్వాత ఇది వస్తోంది. కాబట్టి దీనికి సంబంధించి ఒక అవగాహన అనేది చాలా అవసరం. ఎందుకంటే నేను గమనించాను, మా గ్రామంలో షుగరు వ్యాధి పోవాలి అంటే ఏవో కొన్ని రకాలైనటువంటి పసరులు తాగడము, లేకపోతే కొన్ని రకాలైన మూలికలతో కూడిన వేళ్ళను తినడము, ఇలాంటి చర్యలు కూడా జరిగాయి. అంటే దీన్ని బట్టి అర్థం ఏమవుతుంది అంటే ఈ యొక్క షుగర్ వ్యాధికి సంబంధించిన కనీస అవగాహన, జాగ్రత్తలు, దానికి సంబంధించి ఒక అప్రోచ్ అనేది లేదు అన్న విషయాన్ని మనం అర్థం చేసుకోవచ్చు. కాబట్టి ఈ విషయానికి సంబంధించి మాట్లాడమని గొప్ప శాస్త్రవేత్త డాక్టర్ రెడ్డీస్ ల్యాబొరేటరీలో శాస్త్రవేత్తగా పనిచేస్తున్నటువంటి డాక్టర్ పరిమల్ మిశ్రా గారిని మేము అడగడం జరిగింది. ఎందుకంటే ఆయన ఈ విషయానికి సంబంధించి అనేక పరిశోధనలు చేశారు. కాబట్టి వారిని అడిగాము. వారిని మేము రిక్వెస్ట్ చేసిన వెంటనే ఒప్పుకొని ఈ విషయం పైన మాట్లాడతానని చెప్పేసి హామీ ఇవ్వడం అనేది జరిగింది. ముందుగా డాక్టర్ పరిమల్ మిశ్రా గారు వారు మాట్లాడతారు. వారు మాట్లాడిన తర్వాత ఇక్కడ ఆన్లైన్ యూట్యూబ్ చాట్ బాక్స్‌లో మీ యొక్క ప్రశ్నలను కూడా వేయవచ్చు. మీ యొక్క ప్రశ్నలు ఇక్కడ నోట్ చేసుకొని పరిమళ మిశ్రా గారి యొక్క స్పీచ్ అయిపోయిన తర్వాత నేను తిరిగి వారిని ఆ యొక్క ప్రశ్నలకు సమాధానాలు చెప్పమని అడుగుతాను. తద్వారా మీ యొక్క ప్రశ్నలన్నింటికీ కూడా సమాధానాలు దొరుకుతాయి. పరిమళ మిశ్రా గారు మాట్లాడే ముందు నేను వారిని పరిచయం చేస్తాను. వారి పరిచయం చాలా దాదాపుగా 2, 3 పేజీలుంది. అయితే చాలా బ్రీఫ్‌గా నేను వారిని మీ ముందు పరిచయం చేయదలుచుకున్నాను. Professor Parimal Mishra is senior professor and chief scientist of Dr. Reddy's Institute of Life Sciences, Hyderabad. He works on diabetes and related new drug discovery for more than 25 years in Dr. Reddy's laboratories and Dr. Reddy's Institute of Life Sciences, and he contributed to put 5 clinical candidates in different clinical phases. He is a fellow of the Royal Society of Chemistry, UK, a fellow of the Royal Society of Biology, UK. ఇది చాలా క్లుప్తంగా ఆయన యొక్క బయోడేటా. పరిమళ మిశ్రా గారు ఈ యొక్క కార్యక్రమానికి ముఖ్య వక్తగా విచ్చేశారు. గతంలో కూడా కరోనాకు సంబంధించి ఆయన దాదాపుగా పదుల సంఖ్యలో అనేక రకాలైన వెబినార్స్‌ని ఇవ్వడం అనేది జరిగింది. ఇప్పుడు డాక్టర్ పరిమల్ మిశ్రా గారిని మాట్లాడవలసిందిగా కోరుతున్నాను.
So I should share, right?
Sir, you can speak, sir.
I'll share this. Could you able to share the presentation? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Could you able to see the presentation?
Yes, sir. It is visible, sir.
Okay, now I'm changing the slide. Could you able to see?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, Professor Gangadhar, and thank you, Breakthrough Science Society Andhra Pradesh Telangana chapter, asking me to give this talk, why we Indian are so sweet or diabetic. And I'm delighted because of another reason, because not only 14th of November this month is the World Diabetes Day, but this year is the 100th year's completion of the discovery of insulin by Sir Professor Benting. So throughout the world, this discovery, the very essential drug for diabetic, insulin is getting celebrated. So when Professor Gangadhar and Dr. Khan and others asked me, and I got lots of questions from different part of the country and also from the world. Some are joining, and I just summarized those questions, but I not very sure I will be able to touch upon all those things. But I have segregated into the 4 parts. First is, how do you know that we are diabetic? That means, what are the symptoms? Because diabetes is known as a silent killer. We miss something. What could be the symptom? Second questions, how many types of diabetes have been reported so far? Is diabetic genetic? Then what is the percentage? Then the second question, part of the question, is diabetes is a lifestyle management disease. That is known. That diabetes is a lifestyle management disease. The role of inflammation, and most recently, those things are coming, the importance of gut microbes. You know, in our gut microbes there. And those microbes are very important for modulating diabetes and all, depending on the condition and digestion and everything. Another scientist asked me, I think from different parts, I forgot, is it a disease of rich or high middle class people? This was the understanding. But now I'm going to tell what's happening. That means the scientist wants to know in anything excess in anything is good. I'm coming to that point. I think he asked this question because of body weight gaining of Indian or other things very quickly last 2 decades. So the excess fat deposition or anything, from there, anything excess is good. We need to discuss for that. So diabetes is a disease of imbalance of energy storage and expenditure. The question is, that means the very concept of metabolism has two parts. One is anabolism, another called catabolism. Anabolism means storage, what we eat. It stores some energy in your belly. Expenditure means we spend the food, we generate ATP. So here energy means the generation and the expenditure of ATP, the energy, that's the things, that is the form, adenosine triphosphate ATP. So the question has been asked, it is how to balance it if it is imbalance. That means if storage or anabolism and catabolism are two different things, but it happens simultaneously, that leads to metabolism. That means like electron, proton, both are opposite in character. One is negative, another positive, but still exist together and motion exists. Is it a unity of opposites? Is it that famous scientific law in different, it has been described, but several legendary scientists, social scientists and all, is it applicable for these particular things? It's a beautiful question asked from abroad. Now the question is, why it is more prevalent in the urban areas of the civilization, available of the car and all those things, especially last 2 years. People are having a horrible life because of COVID things and all. And so they are walking and everything disturbed. So is it affecting the urban? What is the statistics tells? And moreover, diabetes no more the disease of older people. Young kids are becoming diabetics. That's dangerous. I'm staying here for Hyderabad for last 25 years and working. I'll tell you my life experience of diabetes, what I'm working and what I've seen. But alarming things is kids are getting diabetic, 16 to 18 years, and day by day is increasing more, and more towards the last 2 years it is there. All teachers, students, teachers, parents, we have to think, is it because of the cell phone dependency? I'll ask the suggestion and all those from the audience. It is not from here and everywhere, but it is happening because of cell phone became the essential part of their education because of online things. It has a positive one. Because of that, everything's together in a room. Their physical activity, other things, everything stopped. So, end of the day, whatever you are eating, energy has to be spent in a balanced way. If it is not, it leads to fatality. So we need to think here. And also some other things I'm just going to discuss a little bit. Now question is, though it's a lifestyle management disease, now question is it related to stress? Stress is a major killer from several diseases. Now the question is, how the stress is getting generated? How stress getting generated? And then how to distress it. This is my 25 years of research, stress and distress. I'll tell you all clinical, whatever throughout the India or abroad, I travel different parts and given, and what I have learned and what is my laboratory do, I'll put in a very simple, without going for technical details for understanding, so that I can learn and also we can start a new beginning. Second question is it stress related to a defective thought processes? This is the question was asked for some of the high executive who are working, and they asked me this question. The reason especially, they are in a very high position or they are controlling different business or even the doctors or in a family, several things they are doing it. What they are feeling it, what you are doing, they are feeling very much of stress because some things has to be given for a deadline. This has to be done with this specific period and that time. More especially, those working from home, it is given some task has to be performed. It's a deadline or deadline, I don't know. So the question here is coming, in that cases, is there any things called thought process, the way we took decision, or is design thinking, what is that? That means the stress is getting generated for some thought process problem or not. That we're going to discuss a little more here, and want to learn and get that things from here, because it is related to the modulation of the hormonal level, the stress. How to manage stress level in this great situation, this pandemic situation, what are going to happen after that, both economical as well as your physical and all those. And the human has to fight with the nature, and you have to conquer that thing. How to do and still be in a balanced way. That is whatever the idea was learned from different things. I'm going to discuss a little bit. Is exercise important to control diabetes? Not only diabetes. That's why I put in a bold form. And the question is, we know the exercise is good, but early morning or every time when you go to catch flight to go somewhere, I didn't see very people doing exercise or on the road or everything. It is not very, those who are doing, their elderly people or something, very less. It is the throughout the India, it is the same kind of a situation, especially when I visit some academic institute or university to give the lectures and all those. My attention will be the students' hostel. I saw those hostel lights are on whole night, and morning, I don't know. And especially in the pandemic time, what happens, what I learned, all those students and all, they are sleeping in the day and the night they work because of cell phone and all those things. So I'll come into that. We know that exercise or all those things are very good. This is in theory, but what we are doing in the practice. So it is the theory and practice where we are lacking, or what we need to improve, or we need to do something. That I'll last part of the talk and conclude. Now, question is, why diabetic patient takes so many medicine? Even a diabetic patient takes 7 to 8 medicine per day, 2 to 3 times before taking even insulin, the last one. Is it a multifactorial disease? So that could be a multifactorial, different kind of a things for all those. I'm coming and the question I'm just telling, though I'm not a doctor, but I'm a scientific. I work on scientist. I work with the doctor together to put all those. But whenever the something comes, if you ask people, out of 199% people become doctor. They know what is the answer, but really it is not. So importance of the natural food. Have you taken this? Have you taken this? Have you took that? Okay, and all those, to some extent up to that. But when the disease progresses, where we are aiming to, and that leads to our questions. Can diabetic, so far in the last 2-3 decades, with several drugs, we treat the disease. But there are 4 conditions of the disease. To treat the disease last, before that, if you can delay the onslaught of the disease, gravity of the disease. Before that, can you cure the disease? That means disease happens. That's why asking for to cure. If your disease happens, asking if you can't cure, can you do the onslaught of the remedy, little bit of remedy, so that whatever the death can happen earlier, it could be delayed, and then they treat the disease. Now the questions coming, can it be prevented? Especially the question come few years before of the vaccine treatment. You know that for corona we are taking vaccine because of that, not to infect. So can be diabetic could be prevented through the vaccine. This is a new thing. To be very honest, when I joined Dr. Reddy's lab in 1996, I started all those things looking how to treat the disease for the new drug discovery. Slowly, I'm moving throughout this Indian world. We are trying towards coming to the onslaught of the thing to cure. And now all our attention will be, can we prevent? So that is the advancement of the science, where we are not, we learn from you when question answer and try to start a new beginning, as I told. And then what will happen, what we are discussing or whatever thing, collective learning, mutual learning will help us to shape the our country, shape the society, and all those, the generation and all those. I'm very scared for the young kids who are getting diabetics, and what is the reason we predicted it is coming. So we need all of your help. So don't take me as an expert or anything. I just want to put some story, life story, some things, and want to know your thing, because you are the parents, teacher, student. What we are doing, you may have some novel idea which can put a novel things and leads to the new drug discovery. With this hope, I'm starting. So in 2014 November, that is an economics time, the diabetes could rob India of democratic dividend. The medical community warned against serious financial implications, because the reason is not only treat the disease. If you are not healthy but you are not that serious like cancer patient, they can't move, but your effectiveness, productivity will be less. So that's why called financial. As of today, out of 130 crores, close to 77 crores and above is India is diabetic, and Hyderabad is the diabetes capital of India. That's surprisingly, though lots of pharmaceutical other things are there, treatment is good, but this is one of the diabetes capital of India. And the first diabetes capital of world is China, that is close to 10 crores and all. But day by day, the amount of things are happening throughout the world, and you will be very, very surprising. Now at the statistics is, out of 5 diabetics, 1 is Indian. And the topic here I've given, why Indian we are so sweet or diabetic. I got this topic from long back from that World Conference on Diabetes, and it is accepted. That's the way they called Indians and all those kind of things and all. Now the question is here, though we are talking, it was the disease of the middle or rich people, but question is 73 population under poverty line, and they are also stress-ridden people. I'm coming to that point, where the point I want to mean. And number of undiagnosed diabetic patient may be huge, because it's a silent killer, and we don't take care of things. Even from the village and all, we don't know that you are getting diabetic, but you don't know. When come to the last stage, you will come to know this. So the topic, I can give a single line conclusion. This is the slide. I'll come back again in the last slide. You can see the left. This is a very healthy, obese person, is an US population. And here in the right side, you can see my friend, one of the doctor, is very lean. No body things and mass, but he is highly diabetic. He's Indian. The question is coming here. What could be the hypothesis behind it for the Indian to be diabetic? Low birth weight, and more important, more muscle fat. Most of the energy in the body is used by the muscle. There is the importance of the exercise coming, 90%. And the muscles, Indian muscles, are full of fats compared to other things. There is a genetic reason. And less muscle weight, because muscle contains a organelle called mitochondria, which generate ATP, the powerhouse of life, powerhouse of energy. And the ATP, you can see that if your muscle is mitochondria rich, the color will be different compared to muscles. If it is not rich, color different. You can find the muscle of a 100-meter sprinter and a 10,000-meter runner, two different kind of a thing. 100 meters sprinter, the muscle will be well built up, lots of glycogen will be there to free energy or giving the glucose instant within 10 seconds. But long runner, their muscle fiber is little different, and the twitching of muscle will be from one to another. So that's the questions here. By birth, our muscles and questions of mitochondrial DNA, less muscle weight and all. Now the mitochondrial DNA also has a female origin, women's origin. I'll not go into details for all those things to do it, for the initial part of the things. But what I'm just telling, why we are so sweet. Search for signature defects in Indian diabetes. But it is not 100%. It is a certain percentage of diabetic people or the populations. The main cause lies somewhere else, where will be the main talk, but I'll come back after giving you everything to discuss this point. See, you see this, when we all go for the health checkup, though most of the people doesn't go, when you are going for the health check or sugar test, doctor told you do the overnight fasting and you come 12 hours. Then doctor will take your blood asking, are you diabetic? Question, I don't know, or yes. They'll take the blood. Then they will give you 75 grams of sugar or something. And they tell, after 1 hour, 1.5 hour, 2 hours, you see how much the sugar level. So that's the way it is there. If your sugar level is close to 100 in the fasting, you are borderline, still less than is better, 70 to 100. If you're more, then that will be there. And after eating that 75 grams of sugar, or if you're diabetic or breakfast, if your sugar level is more than 140 or so, the doctor will diagnose for all those. So this is called the euglycemia in the homeostasis of the normal people. Normal blood fasting sugar will be 7 to 100, all those kind of a thing. Now, when this imbalance is happening, which we don't know, I'm telling why not. Plasma glucose all of a sudden will be 50, 60. You will have some headache, blurred vision, rapid heartbeat, hunger, weakness. It could be happen for several things and all. Especially for the older people, if it happen to be protein, you know what is. But a younger person happen, you told it's just something not slept and all. We all do that things. It happens, leads to several kind of a thing. Impaired cerebral function, permanent brain damage, and death and all. But when you have high glucose, more than 200, you will also have same kind of a symptom, but little different way. You will see that something is not very, you are very energetic to work. All of a sudden, you are feeling that sweating coming, and all those things are happening and all those. So that leads to diabetes and cardiovascular and other morbidity. The reason is our brain needs uninterrupted sugar. I'm going very slow. Brain to think, it needs uninterrupted sugar supply. If brain doesn't get that ATP in properly with a smooth and a steady flow, it will going to happen that. It depends on the higher sugar or lower sugar. All those things, but brain need it. Now the question is, if brain needs sugar, where from that sugar will come? That time when brain needs sugar, our liver became a sugar factory. Immediately you do it. You can see one ad that everybody wants to be a Sachin Tendulkar, that glucose ad, one kid in the scorching sun trying to make sixes failed, having some glucose D and then make sixes. Immediate release of the sugar. And the ad is telling that you need sugar energy to do that, but don't please put into anybody into this is addiction. Then your body will be all sugar or glucose based, not lipid based, because the concept of diabetes is changing from glucocentric to lipocentric. Glucose is the manifestation, but lipid is the main cause. That is the things I'll come slowly when the talk will advances. So circulation of the comes from the liver and not from diet. This is a very, very important slide. I'll go very slow. If I make you convinced to understood everybody, then you will understand 60% of the diabetes, why it is happening. So, you know the insulin, which is required to digest your sugar. So, insulin is diabetes is described as a scarcity or relative scarcity or no for the insulin. If it is no insulin, type 1 diabetes. If it is insulin, it's still there, but your body can't take to insulin, this type 2 insulin. And then there are type 3C diabetes is coming for obesity and diabetes for pancreatic people. I'm working closely at Asian Institute of Gastroenterology, our institute working for those kind of things to find out what could be the reason for all those things and all. So I just tell you, the body has been designed such a way, if you want to be diabetic, it can't be diabetic so quickly, because it is a lifestyle or whatever the things. Your body has been designed and following the natural law and fighting with the nature, and cold is getting, you can sense cold, hot, even how you can sense the taste of a mirchi or capsaicin. This year Nobel Prize has been given. Through that, you have conquering the nature. That's why you are getting educated and you are conquering with the nature things. So you want to be diabetic, immediately you can't be diabetic. It takes 5, 6, 7, 7 years, average 10 to 12 years. But the question is coming, it can be reduced depending in your body system and all those. That's why I'm going to put for all those. So now let me, here you can see normal insulin level and normal blood glucose level, and there is some quadrant I put it. Pre-diabetic, as I told, if you have less than 100 fasting sugar or less than 126, you will be called pre-diabetic. More than that, it will be diabetic. And if you, after taking sugar or breakfast, if your sugar is more than 140, you will be impaired glucose tolerance, or you will be considered diabetics, and more than that thing. So let me tell why it is a silent killer and we don't know. Let me explain this point. Now, as I told you, diabetes is is always related to the relative abundance of the insulin or no insulin. If you type 1, you have to take insulin. But always you understand, insulin getting secreted from beta cell of pancreas. So it is an endocrine. Endocrine. Endocrine means depending on the sugar level, insulin will be secreted. So when you will eat, insulin will be secreted from the beta cells. It has its own auto-regulation. That is, but when insulin is given from outside through the injection, it is exocrine. There is no regulation. So please, here, mind that thing, endo and exo. Endocrine means it is getting secreted naturally from the body when the food and there and all. Exocrine means you are taking insulin through blood. So it is only one destination, it will eat up or metabolize sugar. That's why as soon as you're taking insulin, you have to take food. Otherwise, you will go to the coma. Higher dosage of insulin. There is no regulation. But here in that case, regulation is there. Now question is, what is insulin resistance? Insulin resistance is your pancreatic beta cells is secreting insulin. But the insulin is not taken by your muscle, but other organ or other tissues of the body. Why? Because this is full of fat or something, which is the opposite force, which is changing and not allowing insulin to bind. So that called insulin resistance. So you see here that insulin resistance started in the late, even you are before pre-diabetic, but you don't know. Now the question is coming, when insulin resistance comes, then beta cells try to do more and more insulin secretion. Let's see what is happening. You have a balloon, you are putting air inside the balloon through things. But after putting air, sometimes balloon will burst, right? It has its own capacity. So when growing insulin resistance too much, then endogenous insulin level will be high. That particular condition called hyperinsulinemia. You can see here that insulin level is above the normal insulin level of the body. We don't do any test, we don't feel any kind of a diabetics or any kind of a symptom here. Then how will you know that? We need to go regular health checkup. I'm coming to that point. So now, as this thing happened, your fasting blood sugar level, you see it was normal. Slowly when hyperinsulinemia started and insulin resistance started more, fasting sugar and postprandial sugar also has started. See, here is the point. If you, as I told, if your sugar level is less than 100, you are not pre-diabetic. So one way, 1 year I am going, we don't go. It just takes 40 rupees or 50 rupees to do it. My sugar level is 81 year. Fine, I am fine. Next year, when I go 85, fine. Third year, 90, fine. Fourth year, 99, fine. I am still not diabetic. I have nothing to happen. But please remember, gradually you are going towards diabetic. For 80, 85, 90, 95, and when you are crossing 100 and all, that time you already started a pre-diabetic to diabetic condition, and your beta cell progressive destruction already started happens. And when beta cell happen, no other tissues there to secrete you insulin. And you see that end of the type 2 diabetes, progressive beta cell destruction, your insulin level is coming below the normal level. And here, doctor and sugar level is going so much high, and doctor prescribed you have to take insulin and some other drugs. So here in the slides, when we got detected or people got detected, when after 7, 8 years, 5, 6, 9 years, when the sugar level is very high, all of a sudden, because of hyperinsulinemia, so much of things happening, then that time we got for checkup. But we never go for checkup, yearly checkup from our sugar level and all. So this is an eye opener for the kids. You don't have to do anything, but at least please, if it is there, go for your sugar level check for your kids, especially those who are 16 to 18 years, or for ladies less than 5 years. Those are hormonal and all those changes are happening. It is related to that. I'll come into that point in there, but you should do the sugar check once in a year. Otherwise, this will at least you know what you need to do. So this is the main thing what I want to tell you for this, how this progressive disease happens and all. Now let me coming here a very interesting things I told you. Pre-diabetic to diabetic, then diabetic complication. You have seen that pre-diabetic to diabetic, that is a transition. That means this slowly it is quantitative changing is happening from sugar level 80, 85, 90, 95, then going towards the nodal point. So it takes 1 to 3 years, 6 years, and full bones all there. This is a pretty good example. I'm a scientific, I work on science and have to read several literature we read to find out from this class 7, 10, or also several social scientist literature, both from the things economic condition. You will find in a beautiful writing about this example of the water, how it is becoming vapor, what is the concept of nodal point and all. I just slowly going to do that. When you put in heat in the water, what happens? It start heating, temperature is gradual change is happening. Then what you do? You just stir it little bit. So the water which is close to the pot coming out and all. But you know, in 100 degree when it comes, it will start boiling, and that is a transition phase is happening. And that particular heat called latent heat. So you know the difference between water, between a vapor or a steam and a vapor. See, in the water, all those things, your hand will not be burned. But one is your steam and all those, hand will be burned because the energy is more. What is happening here is the same water. When in ice, there is a water, that bond formation between two interhydrogen bond is different. When it is simple water, vapor and all those kind of things. What I just want to tell you, there is a transition is happening and there is a nodal point. What is in scientific point called quantitative change to qualitative changes, and vice versa also could happen in several cases. I'm not going for all those cases. So you see this, the law of science, this is also happens in the natural law from anybody's life or in a society or in atom every time. So it is also diabetes, just an example. So when we learn science, here I just want to tell all those things, we don't learn only diabetics. We learn also what is the condition of a matter, materialistic output, whether this is a life dynamic matter or a static matter. Whatever is happening, we need to keep our eyes opening that nature of the human body, all are following this law beautifully. So this is an example how this pre-diabetic to diabetic complications, the transition of the nodal point, and this is a famous example what we are doing it. And you have seen also, as soon as you are putting for the diabetes, your beta cells has gone progressively, the abrupt change happens. what is happening when your water started boiling 100, and when is this latent heat going, it's just making very quickly, very quick. Before that also, when water is being, you put your hand, you will see little bit of vapor, that is not that hot. But when it is started abrupt changing, it will be very things and quick. Here also, when diabetes last stage come in abrupt changes, because all this microenvironment, everything is gone, you can see that how quickly it is changing to that. So all those scientific basics law, it is taught not in the there in the life also and everywhere. So when you learn, we have to learn in totality, keeping this in mind, and we also share with this all the students and everybody. Now coming for that, so what I just conclude, mainly the liver is the major organ, pancreas, and then muscle and adipose tissue. This is the thing which controls sugar. You can here you see this picture, when your inflamed beta cells happen, you saw that color, so much of inflammation happened in the pancreas. So that defective pancreas is dead. This is called progressive destruction. Destruction slowly, then progressively, then abruptly. So the end of the type 2 diabetes, when there is no insulin, you have to take insulin. And also, though diabetic people has been told not to take any sweet or sugar, but in type 2 diabetes, because lack of insulin, if you need immediate some energy, doctor asks you to carry some sugar, even some chocolate or some biscuit immediately to get the immediate. Otherwise, your brain will stop functioning. You are driving motorcycles, all of a sudden this hypoglycemia shock comes, you are dead. You fell upon all those kind of things. So you need to know which condition and all those kind of things and all. Now, let me tell you a story from this is from Madras. I think our one of my mentor and this Mr. Nanda Kumar, and also Dr. Umaran Chandran, he's there, who is my long-time collaborator, and he might be knowing this Dr. V. Mohan, which has a clinic in Madras diabetic, and he's a renowned diabetologist of our country and abroad also. Even this year, when 100 years of insulin discovery is getting celebrated, Nature published 13 articles, and Dr. Mohan is one of the editor for that. He's a good friend of mine, and we are collaborating on all those. So when I started working stress-related diabetes and all, before submitting a project, I saw these things came from his laboratory. What's happening? 2009, I'm just telling a story. 2009 is known for a very bad economic condition, because black money day happens, black day of money, 2009 something. You know, all share market, everything goes down, everybody's there and all those kind of things. That time, Dr. Mohan told me, and later on published a paper, is telling Mr. a lot of patients never comes early, and their sugar level is 600 milligram per deciliter. Where is the diabetes? 180 to 200, but it's gone 600, and it is very bad. And then he told, after when that black day over, market, those who are share market is come back, those people came to him and they're normal. They're absolutely no diabetics. So stress and distress, stock market is rebound, the recession is over. So here the question of a chronic versus acute stress. A chronic stress, when type 2 diabetes every day, well, I'm coming into that. Acute stress means all of a sudden happens something. But these people are not diabetic. But it is an eye-opener for our country that sweet are not only the cause of diabetes. Stress can get a toll of your health. So take control. Stress can play havoc of your role. It's a part of your lifestyles or not. That's why I'm going to discuss a little bit. But those people are not diabetic, they became normal. That's why they told that Aniji lies on the head that wears the crown. That's the famous things from the English poet. That is a king is sitting, but on his head there is a sword tightened with a thin thread. He doesn't know when the thread will be cut, and that sword will take his things. So that's called the stress level, and that's the stress level. If you are stressed, either is a chronic stress or acute stress. That is, I'm spent a little more time to discuss. This is the main cause of diabetes. Why? See, let's see here, I just put in the liver. I told you, when you are stressed, just think of it. When you are trying to solve some problem, you got some death news, you got some bad news, but always you try to solve something, and you have something to do. What is happening? You just thinking very deeply, and if it is the thinking process is not correct, you will see that you're sweating. Why sweating? Because a lot of ATP energy is getting consumed by the brain. And when it is getting consumed by the brain, who will supply those energy? Those energy will be supplying by liver. From where liver will get those energy? And here relation with all those kind of the hormonal changes, that is insulin, glucagon, corticosteroid, adrenal, and everything. And as a result, what happens? This glucose is getting made from this liver, and that is called gluconeogenesis. That is de novo synthesis of the glucose. And if you are always in a stressed condition, that maybe the quanta of the stress will not be that high, still your brain always require a good amount of sugar to do that. Let me explain like that. If you spend money every day, say 100 rupees, 150, you think 100, 150 rupees per day spending what? Next you pay 200. End of the month, if you multiply it by the 30, end of the year, if you multiply it by 12, the amount of money, though quanta for every time is very less, you spend, it is not less than of an EMI or quarterly EMI of your building. Here is the problem of acute stress and the chronic stress. Every day we are thinking in a stressful life for something else. If you don't resolve the stress quanta is very less, but it is getting accumulated. Ultimately, you are getting accumulated stress, and accumulated stress means your brain needs more and more amount of sugar. Where from the sugar will come? Sugar will come either from glycogen from the liver or de novo synthesis of the sugar. What is happening through liver? What is happening? If these conditions, every time you are in stress, the sugar level is increasing. That's why the fasting sugar level day by day is increasing very slowly, fast, and then that is the real cause of your hormonal disbalance, your stress, and creating the diabetes, and it takes several years to get adjusted. If I understand this is, if I make you convinced or anything, that is the main point what I going to tell through this present day society kind of a thing. So now the questions coming, if that is the thing, what some of our executive, a friend from abroad, throughout their well, they're asking that we always or everybody, we work in a very stressed condition depending on the things, how to manage this stress. There will be several lectures. Nowadays, you can find several people will tell you all those things and all. To be very honest, I listen, attended those classes. I not think, but those kind of a suggestion, they are not in ground reality. Let me hear from the doctors. Let me hear of the people who is handling this thing day to day, how to manage it. Here is the question. I know I'm just telling you, before preparing this presentation, I started several years to consult the villagers. One of the places is called Guna, where today I think Professor Kenj is attending. He is the president of March for Science of Madhya Pradesh state. He invited me in 2009 in the Guna, and there I talk in Hindi about the villagers about the diabetes, and I learned a lot. Show is in Odisha, show is in different places and here, and I talk to the common villagers to understand what is going on and all. Then I come back to the social scientist. Those who are people, those who are determining our life, what maybe this ideology maybe, want to understand the books and go to that, talking to their people who they are putting their theory in practice in life, making the advancement of the society. Then I talked to several inspirational leaders of this big corporate, how they manage and all. So this is my realization or understanding. You can correct me. On the basis I'm coming into that, maybe you do, but I just want to tell you, here is the major point. On the request of all of my friends, I'm going to tell you here. See, if you think your thought is like a tadpole, I don't know what is called in Telugu with tadpole. I should know that much, but I'm telling a tadpole. Tadpole is a live thing. It has a small head and it has a tail. And the tadpole is very dynamic. In the water, when the tadpole born from the frog and all those things, tadpole that goes from different directions. Just take this thing as a symbol of your thought. So it is very dynamic. It can go any direction. What generally we do when we have some kind of a contradiction of thinking, what you do? We fight head-on collision. I am right, you are wrong. Either 50 this way or that way. It doesn't lead to anywhere. And what is happening, either I am right or you are right, this right or that right, it goes and take the mental space. You can't make things and all. So I am not telling everywhere. This is my our observation, what I'm talking to I'm telling it. It's not exactly about mine. I believe into that. I'm party to that things and all. That's what I'm telling you. But instead of that, if you see here that this tadpole, all four, I just draw that tadpole, they are all thinking parallelly to solve some problem. And here you can see there will be a circle and everybody is trying to solve the problem. Here also that kind of a contradiction will be there or confrontation, but it is sidewise, not headwise. What is this thing, parallel thinking? Everybody had some differences or that have a thought process, debate going on, but debate going on to solve the problem, not to win or lose. Here, instead of 1:1, it is a collective decision, collective wisdom. And ultimately, whatever the decision is taking, everybody's input, everybody's thought, everything is there. And as a result, what happens? It leads to a constructive thinking. We have to solve a problem, maybe huge. Let us start from the beginning. And through the constructive thinking, you have a reference plane. Then you again start parallel thinking from here. Again, you will reach to another constructive thinking. But you like that you go. But if you put a line, you show exponentially, you are going to solve the problem of these things. Where from it has been arised? It has been so first when we unite together or to solve the problem, this is the first thing going to happen. It has a lot of difference. Then this parallel thinking contradiction happen. Ultimately, when you solve the problem, you saw the bigger unity is coming. Still contradiction is not over, but it's not. And bigger unity, not like this, is completely different from the first unity that's I put in a bold word. And then how does things will be synchronized? This orderly system, this completely systematized system, it is from the body, it is from the nature. Cell communicate to tissue, tissue communicates to organ, and organ through the mind and brain, that is a monolithic body concept. And then it leads to organization, individual submission to team to organization, to the higher organization. It is natural body, nature, everybody taught us. That is the real, one of the best thinking process the body taught us. If some cell happens somewhere, still a monolithic body will be sick because he comes to know because of this particular beautiful coordination, systematized way, what needs to be done for all those. So it has for the confidence building. And those were the friends asking these questions. it is very difficult to function in effective body functioning. And because it has to be very, very careful that it should not go for win or loss instead of constructing thinking and to solve the problem. Then individual to collective accountability will come. Synergizing individual goal with institutional growth and organization aspiration and nation's ambitions. So my humble submission is there. Those who ask that questions, for the thought process needs to be changed. If we practice like this, I can tell you your stress level, you could be stretched, but you're stressed and stretched, two different questions. You can stretching something. If you're stretching something, it's completely different thing. So it could help you to your hormonal secretion, very, very not that damaging, whatever the condition you are there and whatever the condition. But if you take the first route, this is, but thank you for asking these questions and what is the explanation I'm given, but that is helpful for me to understand to triggering the diabetes of the hormonal secretion and the stress level, how to distress it is. It is just mental. Still I don't come for the physical. I did mind, that means body things, I'll come into that. It is the mind exercise of that. To mental is these things. Our is to think in a very linear way. And people linear order, and something may be random. Random doesn't mean random also has its own order. Random doesn't mean it is something else what you can't imagine. That is a zigzag order. So when you are trying to solve the problem, you put your brain into the zigzag and that way so that different thought process can come and you come into the conclusion. But when you are putting some things linear way, then you have not done, most of the cases it happens like that and relate to the problem. Now the question here, I'm coming, a beautiful question asked about the use of cell phone in that context. Let's say you want to solve some problem and you are totally thinking in a direction. All of a sudden, WhatsApp message came. You put and do that. Again, you are coming back. You have to start from the scratch. Again, you will just proceed a little further. Again, it has come. So this is not happens earlier. Is disturbing your thought process and putting your more energy, more ATP, more brain, more hormonal changes to do it. So you have to be, or students or everybody has to be very, very cautious. Second thing, when you think like that, what is going to happen? It is in vapor stage. I saw that a lot of students who are doing PhD or anything, when you are interfering, they are so good in speaking or anything. Just give them a pen and ask them a paragraph to write. The pen will be broken, ink will be dried, still it is not coming. Because this is the product of objective questions, not subjective anything to do it. Some people can think, can write, can speak very nice, but to concretize something, to put a direction of your thought process, writing, if you can do that, then that you can keep it with you to stress level will be less. Then if you can't write, before going into sleep, give your mind for 10 minutes. The speed of the mind is more, speed is more than even a light. And that you know what you need to do for next day. That is called mind mapping. That's why doctor is telling. If you have a mind mapping, next day when you are going to office or anything or to do, you have some work which is absolutely routine, something is innovative in nature, you can balance betterly. Or you can write on the paper and see after a week where I stop tonight, tomorrow what I'm studying. Then it will start. That is the writing or expression of your things, or tell you the vapor, put in a single drop of water is coming. So here it is, the things looks like very simple. If it's very difficult, then your stress level, then your hormonal secretion level, especially up to certain ages, you can control little bit your diabetes, onslaught of the diabetes, and your requirement of brain sugar level for these unnecessary things will be less compared to other things and all. And you will see that instead of becoming sorrow or something, you will be happy, cheerful. This is the expression what kind of a hormonal level you have. So this is the understanding of talking to the several doctors, social scientists, and this is with the some data driven what I'm going to tell you about how to control this diabetes and all. Now let's see, this is another things that insulin resistance and all happen. Obesity is a major thing. You see here, obesity, how the people obese? I just told you expenditure is less, intake is more. So unity opposites means unity. That's why the metabolism called anabolism, catabolism. Here in case of obese people, all fats and everything getting deposited in a belly. So now the one student asked me while I'm giving few years before, the earning of 83 people is earning close to the 350 crores of the people of the world. So when the world economy itself is imbalanced, so what is the wrong? It is reflecting to our life. It's a very good question, but I know this is the things why when your things are changing, your economical, socio-economical condition, changing your lifestyle, putting you more stress and kind of a. But one thing what I just learned from this, anything excess like this fat or anything excess is very bad. That life, diabetes and obesity field teaches us. Anything excess is bad. You need to do for the balanced way. The reason is, here in that case, stress either in the front, the poor, it is on the back. The stress there. Here what happens, because of more fat, insulin is not penetrating to take the glucose. And here because of stress of the poor, insulin is, beta cell is diet. Ultimately, it's lack of stress, lack of hormonal things are going on. See how contrast is happening in two different cases of doing the diabetes kind of a thing. So you need to put the balance your life struggle, balance of your things, balance the economy or whatever needs to be done. That means which one things are required, we need to bring that way. Like how we have a 5 fingers, every finger may not be same in the size, every finger function, but every finger gets the same glucose, same blood, same kind of energy kind of a thing. So that's my understanding in the question answer. You can enlighten me more, but whatever I understand from collectively, I'm putting into there here. Now I'm just going little bit of technical things because I saw these those attendees, some doctors are there. They have some specific questions from different part of the world and also different things. They're doctors, the medical students and all. See, this is the thing I can tell you. This is the mice. This is called obese mice. What I handle in the things. There will be obese rat also. One obese rat is $2,000. That means close to 1.6 lakhs rupees. Only one obese rat. Those rats has to be brought in the flight, and in the April month in the Hyderabad, you have to keep those in air condition for 2 hours, acclimatize, otherwise they will die, because that is mimics the diabetic condition of the human. That's we have to put our new drug, those things to do it, because in there those mice or rat, in their urine sugar is coming like that, a human kind of a thing. You can see that if you can't take the skin out, it is just done by me. You can see this great fat ball. You can see that if you stain it, or if you a obese person, when you go for sometimes I saw that all those things, taking the skin white adipose like a cotton, white cotton, you can come to for all those kind of things. So this is the things what we do for doing to discover drugs for these things. And now where is the connection of the brain? And there is some hormonal connection with the adipose tissues of the brain and the cerebellum and all those kind of things and all. I'm not going into details. This is the leptin kind of things and all. So that is pretty dangerous. Here I just want to make a point. Obese, you are obese, then you are getting diabetic. You are diabetic getting obese. And if you are obese diabetic, your body weight decrease coming back is very, very difficult. Because the reason why I'm telling you, we go for doctors to show. Doctor told you come to us with overnight fasting, not overday fasting. 10 hours night. When switch on and off on the basis of light, human body is designed like that. When you take your dinner 8 o'clock, within 2 hours your sugar is getting metabolized. After that, your fat cycle started, whatever you've taken. And that fat coming to the basic ingredient of acetyl-CoA, through which your fat or protein or everything is made. This is the main source of ingredients of energy. In the night, if you measure your sugar level, night 2 to 3 in morning, that time several hormonal secretion happens. Your de novo synthesis of sugar and everything is happening. So doctors told you count the fasting sugar in the night. It doesn't happen in this time and all. Now think of the students during this epidemic time, they're using laptop whole night and whole day they are sleeping, those kids. In the night, what's happened? 2 to 3, body will not leave you whether you are awake or not. It knows what time of these things and that part of your things are there. So it will switch on and off. And that's why those air hostess, those who are coming to the international flight, day night, they become diabetic. It is a clinical data proven because of the hormonal things and all. I think this is one of the things we measure, the sugar level night 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. Even doctor tells those who are highly diabetic to do that. Even people feel very hungry around after 2 hours or 10, go to the, especially your diabetic people, go to the kitchen, take some chocolate or something to eat. Why does it happen? These are all the switching on and off expenditure and all those things, what I'm not going into that. But please remember and please instruct your kids or student or everybody. It is always get praising this kid whole night and midnight he read and he done well in the exam. It's a wrong notion. It is destroying this kind of a thing. You may be putting these kids into a rocket launcher in earlier part of his or her life. The rest part of the life, if he doesn't maintain, he or she will be a locomotive engine. This is a statement I'm making. I got it from different doctors and all. So we need to be very, very cautious and educate to kids. And that could be one of the reason slowly, because of cell phone, because of lack of other things, and whole night became diabetic, stressed and everything. And this generation will be going to a very, very bad phase of things, especially for these 2 years of pandemic. Now, just to tell you, as I told, metabolism is anabolism and catabolism. It's a unity of opposites. Then, if I can store some energy, if you have a high sugar level, high TG level, if I store some energy in my belly and some other energy, if I expenditure put it, so expenditure and storage, then a new drug can come so that let my body weight be increased a little bit, but my expenditure also there. This kind of effect we tried, but this drug leads to the some other effect. That's why one of our phase 3 candidate, it has gone because of body things and all those kind of things. But there is an alternative. Now let me coming to the spread of things. What I told, this pre-diabetic, then when you go to doctor give you 1 diabetic pill. After that, give you 2 diabetic pill, then 3 diabetic pill, then all those things going to happen. Here I just listed metformin, glimepiride, and all those kind. And in addition to that, what doctor do? First, they do that your stress-related glucose synthesis should be off, number 1. If it is not there, then that will increase more insulin from your beta cell. That is another drug. Then when you eat, that time one peptide got secreted, GLP, glucagon-like peptide. It is destroyed within 2 minutes. If it is not got destroyed, it will help your insulin secretion. That is another drug. When all those things is not there, then doctor goes back to the older days when diabetes was detected. If a person urinate in the tree, in the root of the tree, and ants come, that means through his or her urine sugar is going and ant is doing it. Same mechanism they took, that throwing this sugar from the body through urine. That is another very good drug has come, which is insulin independent, but could not be given for the earlier stage of the diet. So there will be 3, 4, then insulin, then your blood pressure, blood thinner, heart. So if you think what is things to come, all those things, and there you need to be very, very cautious because of treating diabetes last stage. Still, it could not be done and all. So these are the many diabetics population and 18 and 20 years old. This I just told. These are the drivers. What is happening and what I just discussed with you. The concept is changing from sugar to lipid. Lipid is the major point. That's why here it is coming from all those kind of a concept. Ultimately, it is coming that diabetes is not a glucocentric to lipocentric. That's why doctor told eat less oily food, this food, that much of things you take, and all those kind of things. Now, what is the way out? The simple thing: exercise keeps people healthy. You're right. What happens? Exercise activates one enzyme called AMP kinase. See, please pardon me, when I put this figure of the 3 ladies, then Cambridge University asked me, are these representation of anti-aging drug? I told no. This is the research what we have gotten from the animals to the human. I'm going to tell you. The 3 ladies figure, one is maybe 12 years, another maybe 30, another 60. When you grow old, you see the wrinkle and everything is coming. And that's why the things of the old age and all those things comes. But if you are diabetic or if you don't do exercise, you see this, and as your age progress, your AMPK level activity is coming down. That means the mode of exercise or all those things is coming down body, because all cells are getting aged. But in the young age, if you have a diabetic kind of a thing, you see your AMPK activity, you looks young, just outer. Inside, you are like old. So here the concept is coming, why older people has to do double exercise than younger one to same benefit. If you're 25-year-old, if you do exercise 45 minutes, to get the same age, 50 years old, or my age 58, it has to be do twice. And age-old concept of diet control is not enough. You need to do something, do it, and that's called need of an AMPK activator, exercise mimicking something. Why? The reason is, this is what I showed in the bottom part. This has been taken, all those drug what I showed to you, metformin, fibrate, statin, and exercise. When you do for things and all exercise, all those could be related, because diabetes is a multifactorial disease. So through that medicine, you are taking a bunch of medicine. Can all medicine could be combined into a single? It's a very, very difficult aspiration, what I'm telling, because the medicine already in market, they have the toxicity value and all, but the whole world is looking for a single medicine, and that is will enhance your exercise. Again, you can't do exercise 24 hours. Then you will be sweating. You need AC, air condition. You to do exercise twice in a day, that is also controlled, not more and not less. The reason is, when you are doing exercise, your fat is getting burnt and free fatty acid coming into the blood, but you have to burn that free fatty acid. Otherwise, the free fatty acid will deposit your liver or muscle, make you again diabetic. So always there will be a balance and the control and all. So last several years of my things, I was working on this particular concept on that exercise mimicking things. But if you take this drug, and don't exercise, it will never work. It is just to facilitate things kind of a thing, because you do exercise for half an hour, but that entire thing stays there for another 24 hours and so. So you have to take a drug on the basis of this concept that drugs should not be there in the body for 24 hours. Then you will be always in sweating. These are all technical things and all. So this is those who doctors ask me to put in a little mechanism. This is the mechanism for that. And then my clarion call, please do not outsource exercise. You saw in the treadmill. Please don't laugh at me. For the student, I have to teach and tell them in a lighter way. The putting the dog in the treadmill and the person was taking cold drinks. Please do not be victim forces of habits. But here I just want to tell you, in the early morning, 5:10 is a difficult time for anybody in life. You know you need to do exercise in the morning. You have to go out to the open air. You need cold breath, uneven road to put your muscle to do that. That time your conscious is telling, if you don't do, you will be diabetic. Then your another instinct is telling, today is cloudy, please don't go. So there is always a contradiction between instinct and consciousness. Call theory I know to put into the practice. I think in the audience, lot of social scientists are there who put their theory in that life in the practice. And one of my mentor, Professor Dhruva Mukhopadhyay, is there, my teacher, and all those people there whom they learned, they have theory, practice, and all those things they do. I leave it on them when question answer, they can comment on that. That is my understanding. Don't be the victim forces of habit. But one thing I can tell you, if you do regular exercise, body will ask you, raise you in the morning. You don't have to do extra things to do it. Otherwise, it will be a problem to face this kind of a stress level and all. Now, the question in the last couple of slides, there is Ayurvedic concept of things. Yes, when you take the natural food and everything, there are little things are there. Vitamin, this thing, that thing, all those things can reduce sugar. But depending on which state of your sugar you are there, which stage you are taking, that doesn't mean you take natural product and you don't have to take any other medicine. This is wrong. And moreover, the natural product things is mental problems, what I discussed about the stress and all those thought process, this could not be coming from there. So that is one of the things what I put very short. And then there is a question coming, new drug discovery coming, very, very difficult. One drug to put into market, it requires 8,000 crores rupees of 10 or 12 years. Though the development of this vaccine of COVID has eye-opener, but again it is for prevention, not the treatment of the disease. You need to get right number of patients and all. So what is happening, but this particular disease has an eye-opener. This to treat the COVID, people have used different other disease drug. So can be repurposing of drug which is tested in the body for some tissues could be redirected to other tissues. So there is a question going on, development and repurposing of the drug to bring into that. That is also another effort going on. Now I come back to the last slide what I started. Now you understand what is the muscle fat deposition, what is the role of fat, and what is the role of muscle weight, and all those things are there. My personal understanding that disease, death from the male, from diabetes is little slower compared to the female because of the hormonal things and all. When you do all those dose response study or diabetic drug, we don't take female rats or female other things because the hormonal go to the misleading, but human we do that. That is another things we want to discuss. Another point what I want to tell you, with mission I'm telling you, for this our society, the amount of work a female does in tell college Devi Durga in hands, because they do a lot of other works. When I go to the lab, I saw the students, if a person works from 9 to 6, the amount of standing is doing it close to 15 to 20 kilometers of walking. A ladies one goes, come back, again cook and all those does, it can be minimized, or to some extent could be better, but it could not be taken as a granted. But those are people sitting on the table chair, doing all brain and not things. They need to think even in that where every half hour come out, give a gap 5 minutes with 2 bottle of, or 2 liter of water and two things, make 5 minutes, go back there and can do it. So I'll not go into more details, but here I need to thanks Breakthrough Science Society, Professor Dhruva Mukhopadhyay, my teacher and president, Professor Sumitra Banerjee, Aisha, renowned professor and one of my teacher and general secretary of Breakthrough, Nanda Kumarji, my mentor, Dr. Uma Chamachandran, is vice president, former vice president of a drug discovery company and our collaborator of Dr. Reddy's, Professor K.N. Jha, is the principal of Guna ITI things, and he is the president of March for Science and learned a lot from his, he do a lot of things with the children. Professor Grace Sridhar, Professor Electrical Engineer, Dr. Sandeep Ghata is a renowned diabetologist of Hyderabad, and my personal diabetes doctors, my friend, Dr. Samanta Dasgupta, Mandal, Biplav and Shuvankar, Calcutta Heart Clinic, and all of my teachers, colleagues and students of Dr. Reddy's and Drills, that may be more than 68 or 70 people throughout the 25 years, but it taught me, and thanks to all the audience that's given the questions. Thank you a lot. Thanks for giving me the chance, and I looking for the question answer to learn more and start a new innings. Thank you very much. Professor Gangadhar?
Hello? Dr. Mishra? Dr. Mishra, am I audible? Dr. Mishra, am I audible? Parimal, yeah, your talk is over. Your talk is over, Dada. Okay, Dada. Now we will డాక్టర్ పరిమల్ మిశ్రా గారు అనేక అంశాలని తెలియజేశారు. డయాబెటిస్ ఎందుకు వస్తుంది, ఎలా వస్తుంది, ఏ వయసు వారికి వస్తుంది, తీసుకోవాల్సినటువంటి జాగ్రత్తలు, ఈ విషయాలన్నింటికి సంబంధించి చాలా విషయాలు మాట్లాడారు. పవర్ పాయింట్ ప్రెజెంటేషన్ ద్వారా చాలా అర్థమయ్యే విధంగా విశ్లేషించడం అనేది జరిగింది. ఇప్పుడు మనము క్వశ్చన్ అండ్ ఆన్సర్ సెషన్ కండక్ట్ చేద్దాం. డాక్టర్ మిశ్రా, am I audible?
Yeah. Could you able to hear me, Professor Gangadhar?
Yes. You are audible, sir. Sir, here I listed a few questions from audience.
Okay.
Let me read out, sir.
Yes.
Sir, question number 1. Is diabetes is reversal? Is keto diet is acceptable for diabetics? This is a question, sir.
Yeah, sure. Yes, diabetes could be reversible, but not in 100% cases. The reason is, in order to reverse back the diabetes, is the question which stage of diabetes you are. You are just in the starting stage or in the end stage. If you starting stage, the doctor tell you do exercise and all those things will be done. That means your beta cell still has not destroyed that much. Or there are some drugs like coming now, they are regenerating beta cells. That's claimed, not total proven. But through the lifestyle thing and thought, you can cure or come close to the cure. And to some extent, it has been totally controlled. That much I can tell you. Now, question of the keto diet, it's a question again. This keto diet content, what we are talking, who is taking, which stage of diabetes, only sugar level or body level or a lipid kind of a things, that doctor will determine what needs to be done for all this. That's my understanding.
Thank you, sir. And one more question from Hyderabad, Jani Basha, and he is asking, sir, please tell what is the relation between D vitamin and diabetes?
Which one?
What is the relation between D vitamin, vitamin D?
Yeah. Well, Dr. Basha, it's a very good question. I think you are asking vitamin D3 mainly. The vitamin D3, which is getting synthesized through the sunlight, through the skin and all those. And vitamin D3 is 90% of Indian and more than 95% of the Middle East people have lack of vitamin D3. Vitamin D3 is binds to such a protein and it triggers those genes which can control sugar, lipid and everything, even for the cancer something. So vitamin D3 scarcity is coming as a pandemic throughout the world and all. That's why you have to take. But always remember, if you do physical working, little bit of vitamin D3 will be there. And vitamin D3 supplement what you are taking, that is not the real vitamin D3. It takes another two enzyme to bring into the real vitamin D3, which is required for your body. But that is the things and all. But still the supplement are not very good for all those things. So you depend on the exercise or in the sunlight and all those kind of things needs to be done. But it's a very, very important question, need of the unmet need throughout the world.
Thank you, sir. And one more question from Karnool Rajashekar. He is asking that my grandfather and father is having diabetes, and what about me and my brother?
Yeah, there is a chance, could be, but not that you will have. There could be a chance for that genetic of muscle, fat and all those things and all telling. That could be a chance. That doesn't mean you will be doing, but you need to be a little careful.
Thank you, sir. And Suchita from Hyderabad, she is asking, my son is having 8 years old, and at present he is feeling very sick, and I doubted that is he having symptoms of diabetes. 8-year-old boy, is there any chance to get 8-year-old boy to diabetes?
Okay, I just make it frank. I'm not a doctor, but I am a PhD thing. So, but from my understanding, I'm telling, please get his sugar level checked first. Let's get the data in hand and consult the doctors. Then we'll understand what's happening.
Thank you, sir. And Shankar from Warangal, he is asking a question. Smoking and alcohol consumption is enhance the diabetes?
Yes.
Sir,
No compromise. Yes.
yes, sir. He also needs some explanation, sir.
The reason is,
Particularly, he is asking about smoking.
yes, smoking is addicting the hormonal changes and all those things. And more, if you smoke and just taking the smoke and put in a white filter paper, and you will understand what kind of a things are going. Why unnecessarily addicting your brain and changing the hormonal things and all those things. And this is bad for the heart and all those kind of a thing. So you need a very strong mind to give up smoking. I think most of the people has been reduced drastically. And when I went abroad, I saw that 90% ladies in European countries as chain smoker. Now
Yes, sir.
those things are going. These things are going actually. So
Yes,
I
sir.
think
Yes.
people have understood. Even that tobacco industry, ITC are also running out of business because stop smoking and all those. So this is no question about it. Really.
Yes. Thank you, sir. And one more question from Vivekananda Maiti. My elder sister is 59 and a diabetic patient. Recently, insulin has started. What more precaution can be taken?
Hi, Vivek. Vivek is from my village in Nondigram, where I was born.
Yes,
And
sir.
his
Yes, sir.
father is my teacher,
I
and he is
guess.
my dearest friend. And I very like to that from village people have joined. And
Yes,
his
yes.
elder sister maybe is named Moushumidi, what he's talking about. I'll consult doctors with the insulin and all, but insulin dose and which kind of insulin taking food and exercise, those needs to be measured depending on the severity of the disease time to time. That's doctor will tell, but that's my suggestion for understanding.
Thank you, sir. And one more question. Sir, I am 35 now. I have many responsibilities like job, family works, and other three types of business assignments are there. Am I in a danger zone of diabetes? From
So
Raja,
that
Hyderabad.
is
Yes, sir.
that is
Yes,
depending on the capacity and how you are managing all those things with systematically. Somebody can run the country, run the world, some other things also not being diabetic or diabetic. Depending on that thing, how you are taking, which process, doing it, and end of the day, what are the your things has been done or decided which direction you need to have that kind of a things and all. This is not an things to tell that whether you will going or not. Then you will never take a higher responsibility or all those. This is a question of mental makeup what I discussed for that if you understood. Okay.
yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir. And one question from Varangal, sir. During Corona pandemic, people worked with the different types of electronic devices. Is this type of work with electronic devices is one of the reasons for increasing diabetic cases, sir?
Well, I'll take this question. It's something else. When you are working on the electronic devices or online, your eye or everything fixed to the computer or the cell phone. Your views, you are not seeing these all lively people. You can't read them. You can understand all those kind of things. You are fixed to the particular condition and all. Working on those things in systematically avoiding for a long time, it's not good. Yes, this is not the system which is putting your stress to some extent, but beyond that, the content what people are seeing, this is much more dangerous culturally, because everything in a single things don't have to go out. There is a joke going on, though people tells earlier parents has to put the ears of his son or daughter and ask don't play, read. And nowadays the parents are putting ear of the his kids and telling go out and play, don't play with the cell phone. So those are the things you need to thinks how much you are doing it, but really the eyesight and you are fixing everything, your concentration, energy, and all those things for a long hour, it is bad. Then the question comes: those who are working in IT field, always there a cubicle kind of a thing. Are there all diabetics in office? No, there are some kind of a things are there, but it is little more dangerous compared to the open and mingle with all those kind of a things. So you need to take care of your things, how much you're doing it. But there is a statistics: those who are working from the home for a long time, they are gaining body weight,
Sir,
and there
thank you, sir.
reversal of the rules are coming. Again, go back to the office. See, these
Yes,
are
sir.
all kind of a calculation. This is a different thing. I don't want to discuss it.
Thank you, sir. Sir, next question. Uh, taking rice items. Generally, South Indian people will take rice items. Is it necessary to avoid rice and to habituate taking wheat?
Well, it's all depend on the how much fiber you are taking. Rice has a less glycemic control and all. So that is to some extent in severe diabetes cases, doctor told don't take 2 times rice or brown rice, which has a fiber more and all those things. In the end of the day, you have to make your glucose level to has to be maintained and it has to be properly digested and all. This is the thing. Now there is one thing: if you go by lift every day and if you go by staircase every day, there is a different level of burning of energy and all those. So it is also wheat also has all those carbohydrate things and all, but you have to have a fiber. The reason is, what is the definition of ideal food? If you tell 100 grams fat, sugar, mineral, and all these things, then teacher will be very angry and tell you are garbage. But if you don't put a garbage or fiber in your food, it is never a ideal food. What you are taking intake, it has to be excreted. So that's the importance of the fiber here. So you need to take fiber.
Thank you very much, sir. And last question, sir. This question is from Hyderabad, Anil Kumar. Sir, nowadays, many people are suggesting that to get resolve the diabetes, go for homeopathy, naturopathy, etc. Is it reliable, sir?
So this naturopathy means natural food. Now to me, so natural food, whatever you are taking, we are all uh, okay in early part of our life. Is we take several natural food through our food, lunch, dinner, and all those green vegetables and all those. So those ingredients, natural ingredients, what you are taking, it makes us keeps up this. When the balance is getting difficult, the question is which natural thing you need and which concentration, and which you are not needing another concentration. That depends. You can't take a same natural things for 10 times. It will make you sick, right? The question of homeopathy also science, and I'm not going for elaborate discussion. In homeopathy, what happens? It vaporizes all those medicine. Also, not only this medicine of distilled all those particles or matter, it may have the combinations of vegetarian, non-vegetarian, even some other kind of a things. They vaporize and do that. So ultimately, instead of taking a crude, you are taking a filter one and all those. So body, when going to the body, and when it is interacting with the different receptor or protein or another matter, if it is a material real condition, it is doing interactions, and that's the material dialectical law tells. So what's wrong in taking homeopathy? But again, you have to think: will it be efficacious? Because if your body needs this much of things to cure and you are giving in a suboptimal cases, it may not be that helpful. Here lies the allopathic drug compared to this kind of a thing. And homeopathy drug doesn't mean it should not have a high side effect. And all allopathy drugs means have a nasal product doesn't have a side effect is wrong. You have to take in what is the concentration you are taking, how much in the ratio it is going to the body to interact. That depends the toxicity, which tissue and all. That's my point. So homeopathy, all those concept come putting one roll, diluted 10 to the power minus, all those question doesn't things. It's just a colloquial thing. How many, if you have taken the sufficient quantity of matter in a single composition is going, then it requires certain numbers to interact with that. If that matters, it will work. That's my point.
Thank you very much, sir. Sir, actually, many questions are there. Due to lack of time, I am unable to take some more questions. Then I
Okay.
request all the participants, please interact with us through our mail ID and our website. Finally, the Breakthrough Science Society, Andhra Pradesh and Telangana state chapters, extending their sincere thanks to Dr. Parimal Mishra for his valuable speech. It's very informative and it is very knowledgeable, and it is very, very important, not only diabetic patients, it is very important to students, youths, common people, even many people joined from village also. So on behalf of Vivekananda Meiti, he is a representative of his village. On behalf of him also, we are extending our sincere thanks to you, sir. And I request the students and youths, please join in Breakthrough Science Society and take the membership of Breakthrough Science Society. Visit our website and read our journal Breakthrough and other books of Breakthrough. And finally, I extend my sincere thanks to all the participants and organizers, particularly Suryanarayan Razu from Guntur and Tabrez Khan sir from Anantapur and Suresh sir from Tirupati and others. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thank you, Professor Gangadhar, all the organizers and attendants. And I'm very pleased that from my college day, Narendrapur Ramakrishna Mission, lots of my friends, they joined from abroad and different places. Thanks all of them. Early morning, 5 o'clock, we start doing, and exercise first, exercise second, exercise third. That is the motto of the day. Thank you very much. Thank you all of them. Thanks a lot. And
Thank you, sir.
namaste.